Yes, 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 there is hope for humanity yet. I love when social media is not just a terrible influence on us. Hi guys, it's Astrid. Welcome back to the channel. And today we're gonna do a little bit of a palate cleanser. I've been talking about the ridiculousness of some trends on TikTok, and I've talked about overconsumption and things that I guess I am not the biggest fan of. But let me tell you about a trend that I absolutely love. And that is the trend when people are like, let me de-influence you. Now, this might sound biased because this is also right up my alley for the type of content that I make, I guess. But today I wanted to look at a couple of TikToks that I found of people de-influencing and normalizing real life, and it just makes me so happy to see people being honest and real on social media and reminding people that they should not feel this doom and gloom and feel like they're behind because their life doesn't look like some perfect influencer that they see on their FYP. So let's just vibe out, check out these TikToks, and have a good time together. And if you end up liking this video, you should like, but also subscribe and stick around. If you like this video, you'll probably like my other videos. Okay, this first one I found says, let me de-influence you. And she has different things up on the screen. She says, my house is small, like 1,200 square feet small. My coffee maker is nothing fancy. My ring is small and still beautiful. My car is 10 years old and gets us from A to B just fine. This wall has been on the list for 3 years. Short and sweet. I love this. Okay, let's go through this together. Talking about your house being small. I actually, the other day, I had a moment of weakness. I started thinking about like how I felt like our apartment, my husband and I, our apartment was small. And I don't know the square footage right off the top of my head, but he had to remind me how incredibly blessed we are that we live in a 2-bedroom apartment. You know, we're about to have our baby, and we talk to friends of ours who are young marrieds also, like we are, because my husband and I, for those of you who don't know, have been married for about 1.5 years. And a lot of them are in single bedroom apartments, and they talk to us about, you know, that they would like to move out of that before they end up starting their family, having a baby, things like that. And the fact that we are able to have a 2-bedroom apartment, and the second bedroom can eventually be for our baby, but also that's where I work because I work from home, so it's like my office. And the fact that I don't have to have a desk in the middle of our living space where I'm sitting right now is such a huge blessing. And I do not want to take that for granted just because I'm spending too much time on social media. And that's the hard thing, because I really want to unplug, but I also just love to create videos. That's the weirdness of this whole thing, of me trying to post on YouTube. Now I'm trying to post on TikTok a little bit, but sometimes I'm like, man, I probably need to just step away and unplug, because if I'm being ungrateful for the many blessings that I have, that is a sign that social media is getting to be too much. Anyway, I promise not to take that long on every single one of these, but I just wanted to point that out. Coffee maker is nothing fancy. Love that. Social media makes it look like everybody has these super bougie coffee makers, and I don't. I have a regular coffee maker. I'm also not a coffee guru, but if you go to people's houses, most of them actually have coffee makers like this, and that's totally fine, and no one should think anything of it. It's just because of social media that sometimes we think what we have is inadequate. Her ring is beautiful. I just want to say it is beautiful, and the ring is way more about the sentimental value of it than the actual value. I think we put way too much pressure on our men to show how much they love us because they need to spend all this money on a ring. I adore my ring. My ring doesn't fit right now because I'm super puffy and swollen from being very pregnant, and I haven't been able to wear it in a very long time. Like, my hands are so puffy. Ugh, that is one of the things I cannot wait to be able to do, is have my hands not be puffy anymore. And being able to actually wear my wedding ring again. Oh my goodness, I miss it so much. Anyways, she talks about how their car is 10 years old. I would totally, yeah, this is great. Who are you trying to impress? Are you trying to impress a rando at the stoplight? Like, with having a brand new fancy car? I've always had this kind of mindset of like, it gets you from point A to point B, and some of that's me being a girl and not getting like how guys feel about cars, but yeah, that's how I feel about that. This wall has been on the list for 3 years, having things that you cannot get finished because other things come up, other financial responsibilities happen, people prioritizing paying off debt instead of getting into more debt. I don't know that that's what's happening with this creator. I have no clue. This is the only context I have for this person, but it makes me think of that, of like, they're probably being more responsible with their money and spending it on things that are more important than being concerned about the aesthetics of a wall. I've got another TikTok. This is a girl who's literally my age. She says she's a stay-at-home 24-year-old mom. I am about to be a work from home mom when I have our baby, because I do work, but I do work from home, which is a super huge blessing, being able to work remotely. I can probably relate to some of the things that she's about to say, so let's hear what she has to say.
Let me de-influence you a little bit. I'm 24 and I'm a stay-at-home mom. These are some of the things that I don't spend money on. I don't go to the nail salon. Instead, I use $10 press-on nails. Would never know. They look so good, polished, chic. I don't buy new clothes every single month or an entire new wardrobe for every single season. Either A, don't buy any clothes, or I've been using Nuuly and I'm obsessed with it, especially postpartum. Limit myself to getting one coffee out a week. I don't use food delivery services like Uber Eats or DoorDash. Cook at home, I would say like 80 to 90% of the time, especially during the week. During the weekends, we will go out to dinner sometimes. Don't drive fancy cars. We both drive old and used cars. Mine is a little Honda from when I was 18 years old, but we don't have a car payment. Anyways, I just think it's so nice to hear people's realistic lifestyle, especially when you're in your 20s.
I love what she said there at the end about being like, this is my whole thing too. I knew I would probably get along with her great, saying that like you can see what people are realistically spending in their 20s. She talked about her nails. I have a friend who does this. She does the press on nails and like literally like this. I get annoyed. I do the dishes too much and I just get annoyed. Unless I have a special occasion, like somebody's wedding. I did that for my cousin's wedding, probably. That was the last time I did my press-on nails, was like in August. You know, I enjoy them and I keep them on. They're just not that big of a deal to me. Like if that's a big deal to you, that's a great way to go about it, is to do the press-ons at home. She talked about new clothes. Honestly, my husband and I, we kind of buy clothes on a necessity basis. And that doesn't mean that we only buy things like we have one pair of socks and now there's a hole in it, so now we will buy a new pair of socks. You know what I mean? Like if it's like, oh, I needed new boots this winter season, and so I got new boots, and so did my husband. And that was like an investment that needed to happen because, it's like snowy and icy. We live in the Midwest. It's been below zero, not below, I was gonna say below freezing, below zero frequently recently. So we needed some good winter boots. And like that was something that was like, oh, you gotta bite the bullet a little bit, but like that's not something we plan to do all the time. And it's like, if you need new socks, if you need new underwear, something like that, then you just I keep wanting to say need to know basis, on a when you need it type of basis. And yeah, no, I love that she's also talking about like if she's gonna buy clothes, like she's kind of like being thrifty about it. She said limiting herself to one coffee out a week. That's a little bit much for me personally. I try to use only gift cards whenever I go out to get a coffee, but I don't know what their financial situation is. If I'm going to go, I'm gonna go to Starbucks and I'm gonna use a gift card. That's what's happening usually from scanning things, receipts, or people have given me a gift card. I think limiting yourself in that way, if you know that that is like what you can afford, is great. And she talked about food, like when eating mostly at home. That's what my husband and I do too. He has been really sweet during these, like especially these final weeks of pregnancy, because I'm like, oh, I don't really want to cook, and he's like, do you want me to DoorDash something? Do you want to go get something? And I have been the one who's been a little bit more like, no, we cannot do that. Like he's trying to save me and be a hero, and he's wonderful for that. But my brain is like, no, we need to save that money for when I'm postpartum and I really can't cook, and then I'll need us to DoorDash something really soon, and then I'll want you to go pick up some food, and when I really don't want to cook because I'm holding a new baby trying to figure out how to operate the thing for the first time. My husband and I also tend to, if we're gonna eat out, we use points from Discover is a great one. Use credit card points to turn those into gift cards. That is what we tend to do. Pro tip, it is a game changer to be able to do that when you are using points from like your credit card. When you're already buying things like groceries and gas, just pay off your credit card on time, treat it like a debit card, but pay it off on time. You get points. That's like how we fund our eating out lifestyle for the most part. I did not do this intentionally to find another girl who says that she's 24 years old, but I found this other TikTok that says de-influencing you as a 24-year-old wife figuring out her life. Because I'm also 24. So let's see what she has to say. She says, I don't have a solid friend group. I spend 99% of my time with my husband and consider him my best friend. That's relatable. I dropped out of college after spending a lot of time and money deciding majors. Sometimes I wonder where I'd be if I took the other path, but I wouldn't change what I did for the world. Social media often just shows the highlights. I have hard days, but usually don't share them. My social battery feels non-existent lately. I want to go out, but it sometimes drains me. Lately, I feel like I have a quick fuse and can be easily irritated. I'm trying to be more patient with myself and others. I spend most of my week in pajamas and feel like I don't really like 80% of my closet. My wish list is 10 miles long. Traveling is our dream, but life is expensive, so we sacrifice certain things to afford our trips, like a second car, lol. My husband and I live in a tiny basement apartment and love it. It feels cozy and is everything we need right now. I feel like I'm still figuring out who I am every day, just trying to take it one day at a time with my goals and future. I love that. I love how and that wasn't even just all about the consumption of it all. That was just de-influencing how social media can make us feel. First of all, spending most of your time with your husband, that's me. And if I am hanging out with friends, it's our married friends, because you know what? I love my husband. I'm obsessed with him in the most healthy way possible. And we love to hang out with other couples who are newlyweds and who actually like their spouse. If you are a young newlywed, be around other young newlyweds who also love their spouse and who will encourage you to love your spouse and who will encourage you to lean on each other and grow together and all of those things. She talked about dropping out of college and wondering about like if she'd taken a different path. I've been there. I had this plan. I was going to work on film sets when I graduated college, and I did one show for Netflix as a PA. And I realized that standing on my feet for a minimum of 12 hours a day, more like 14, 16 hours a day, like as a normal day, was just not sustainable. And I heard it was not great for having a family. I talked to a guy on the film set who actually got me on there. I was like, so like, what are you wanting to do? Because everyone's talking about like what path you're going to take for the film industry. Like that's what people talk about on set. It's like, well, what route are you on? Like, you want to be a director? You want to do lighting or sound? He said, I'm trying to get out. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, you know, this is the dream. He literally was just further along in what I wanted to do. And he told me about this other guy that he worked with who grew up with his dad working on film sets, and how he has a terrible relationship with his father. And now that guy works on film sets. And he like, even though he gets it, he's still just had a really bad relationship with his dad. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I knew I was going to get married. I knew I was going to start a family soon. And I just realized like that was not what God had for me. I do understand the feeling of being like, what if, you know, what if? I love that she calls out, you know, we all know social media is a highlight reel, but I feel like we really need to be reminded sometimes. And then also like the social battery, she talks about how she feels like it's non-existent and she feels drained when she goes out sometimes. Oh girl, I feel that right now, but I think that's because I'm pregnant. I felt myself becoming more and more of an introvert. I used to be super extroverted, but as I have moved out and now that I'm a little bit older, I do feel that. I don't feel like I am quite as outgoing. I am outgoing with the people that I like, not as outgoing with complete strangers. I love that she's talking about being more patient. That is a great thing to focus on instead of focusing on just having like the newest shoes. Speaking of shoes, she's talking about how she, you know, is in comfy clothes most of the time. That's again me right now because I work from home. I'm super pregnant, but also before that, I had days where I was like, man, I don't even want to get dressed. And you have things that you want, but you don't necessarily need to be buying them. Side note, I think wish lists are great because it helps you remember like, oh, I'll just put this here and come back to it. And the amount of times that I've come back to wish lists and been like, why did I want that? Desires can come and go so fast. And that is why I am really, for myself, trying to lean away from impulse buying, impulse purchases. And also I want to encourage other people to refrain from impulse purchases because I just think they can be so damaging. I love how she says like traveling is their dream, but instead of just going, oh, I want to travel, so I'll just put it on the credit card, I'll just go into debt because I'm only young once, you know, YOLO, they make sacrifices. And I think that that is way more responsible and way healthier in the long run. And then she talks about how they live in a tiny basement apartment and it's everything they could need and want. And I love that. I love for people to be content and happy with what they have instead of always striving for what's coming next. I think that's beautiful. And then she admits that she's still figuring out who she is. And isn't that all of us? I think we're all just trying to still figure out who we are. Also, she's so cute. She's so cute. I think it was a great add-on for this video and a reminder for today. We're gonna listen to one more TikTok. This girlie, she's gonna give us a little TED Talk reminding us of things that are not normal.
This is your little reminder that it is not normal to have the newest clothes, the newest hair, the newest technology, you need the newest car, the newest makeup, the newest jewelry. Getting everything and buying new things all the time is not normal. So many people overconsume and I feel like I don't. So I want to show you what is normal. It is normal to have a 2015 car that I'm probably gonna run to the ground. Me and my husband share a car. We have to drop each other off at places. Just doesn't make sense for us to buy another car. It's really expensive right now. now. If we want to go out to eat, we only eat out at restaurants that we have a gift card at. We rarely spend money at restaurants eating out with our own money. It is not normal to buy a billion new makeup products just because someone does it. I only restock on my makeup products if I'm literally out or if I want new stuff for my birthday or Christmas. My clothes I've had since I was 18 years old, and I'm currently 22 years old. I'm almost 23. We just don't have the money to buy new clothes all the time, and so the only time I get new clothes are for my birthday or for Christmas. I've had the same jewelry for years. I have only ever bought myself one hydro jug. That is normal. It is not normal to have 50 billion hydro jugs in your cabinets. Like, that's not normal. It's okay if you do, but like, for people out here who don't have money, like, that's not normal. Getting a drink every single day is not normal. It's really expensive and it adds up. Probably get a drink for myself 3 to 5 times out of the year. Date nights, it is not normal to go spend a buttload of money once a week, every single week for date night. It is just not normal to have all these things that you see online. As a creator, I don't even have all these things. And a lot of you probably didn't even know if I never talked about it. If you've been thinking about stopping over consuming, trust me, you'll be just fine. I have a perfect happy life. I probably have way less things than all of my friends and neighbors around me, and I'm doing just great.
Okay, I loved her saying that. You would probably never even know, because especially online, we see what people want us to see, right? She talked about how they have only one car. My husband and I also have only one car, and you know what? We go everywhere together. That's a part of the whole thing of like, we have the same friends and stuff too. Sometimes he'll go somewhere without me and I'll be left without the car, and then I'm like, I do feel a little bit like, oh, I can't go anywhere if I want to, but like, why would I want? I just usually, rarely is there ever a time where it's like, oh, we both need the car, and in that case, one of us can drop the other one off somewhere and it's literally perfectly fine. Someday would we love to have 2 cars? Yes, but that is not the season that we're in right now. Okay, this is what I was just saying about eating at restaurants that you have a gift card for. Rarely are my husband and I going out to eat at restaurants where we don't have a gift card. And you know, sometimes we get gift cards through our Discover credit card. Not affiliated with them whatsoever. That's just what we do. Sometimes people gift us gift cards for different things, and that is how we fund our eating out most of the time. And if not, we have a specific budget for date night so that it's not an additional financial burden for us. She talked about not buying a bunch of new makeup products. I sometimes fall into this where I like still want to try an occasional new makeup thing. Now for me, it's like drugstore stuff. That's my pitfall. I can't do Sephora. I can't justify it. It's just too much. Yeah, I think that this is like a constant one that I'm like learning them. Like it's not like if I get a new blush, my life is going to be changed. I don't know why that's so hard sometimes as a girl. Do you guys feel that? Like as a girl, sometimes I think, why can't I wrap my head around the fact that this is not going to change my life, this new makeup product? Also, now obviously I had to buy a lot of maternity clothes recently, but I also have clothes that I have been wearing since I was like 18 and stuff. Now that wasn't great, because my body, I'm 24 now, and wearing clothes or trying to wear clothes since you were 17, 18, my body has changed. So I'm going to have to reevaluate postpartum what my new body is going to look and feel like just straight up. That way that doesn't turn into like self-hatred of me thinking I'm supposed to still have a little girl body, because I'm not. My mom says you were a princess before and now you have a queen body, and that's the truth. So maybe someone else needed to hear that, because I have to tell myself that all the time. I totally get the whole like holding on to clothes for forever thing, because no, clothes are too expensive and trends come and go way too fast to try to keep up with them anyway, let's be real. I love that she shouted out having the one water bottle, because like, cheers queen. I had to replace the straw because mine got broken, but which I think I already told you guys about. But I've had this I need to figure it out. I was just thinking this today. I need to figure out how long I've had this Owala. Certainly much longer than they have been trendy. The new ones have been trendy, okay? I had this long before that. Not getting a drink out every day. Yeah, like girl, my Starbucks order, I know there's cheaper options, but my Starbucks order is like $7, $8. So that's like what? That's like $50 a week if you get Starbucks out. Also, that would be so unhealthy. I get the caramel ribbon crunch. Like I'm just gonna be real. That's a full on milkshake. It is ridiculous. It's a special treat, not an everyday for sure. And again, I said this before, but my husband and I have a date night fund, and like I asked him about going to the movies last night, and he was like, I don't really want to, which by the way, because it was Tuesday, and Tuesday is like the cheaper day to go to the movies, and so it would have been like $15, but he's like, he's like, if we go, I'm gonna want a popcorn and a drink, and I just don't want to do all that. And I was like, you know, that's fair. So instead, we rented a DVD from the library and watched it, and we had a fantastic time together while we ate a very delicious meal that I made, if I do say so myself. Dinner and a movie, do you know how much that would usually cost? And it cost us nothing extra that we wouldn't have been spending anyway. She talked about how you wouldn't even see this. Like, you see she's a creator online, she has a platform, and it doesn't mean that she has all of this stuff that we assume is normal for everyone to have, and it feels like everybody has it but us. And that is just not the case. And so that is why I love these videos. That is why I think they are great. A wonderful palette cleanser from the doom and gloom. And I just love when I see them come up on my For You page, because it's just a great reminder. I hope you guys liked today's video. You should go ahead and like and subscribe if you haven't already, because this community that I am building, we are building over here on YouTube, is for people who appreciate stuff like this, the real life and the beauty of real life, not just the fake clips and highlights you see on social media that's got a filter on it and a trending hashtag. That is all I have for you guys today, and I will see you in my next one. Mwah! Bye!